Here's the problem. Your English is in a cage. This cage has been holding you back, not letting you speak English fluently, but this cage can be removed. So what does this cage actually look like? This cage looks like you only using sentences that you are 100% sure are correct. You don't want to make mistakes. You stay in this cage. This cage also looks like staying in a safe place where the topics are ones that you are familiar with, ones that you know the vocabulary for, never going outside of the cage. This cage also looks like rehearsing sentences in your head, so that before you speak, you know they are going to be perfect. But this is a cage. And this cage also looks like you avoiding situations where you might make a mistake publicly. You stay inside of the cage. But today I want you to change your mindset. I want you to change your mindset and your belief. You see, actually, you don't have a fluency problem. That's right. You don't have a fluency problem. Instead, you have a permission problem. Your English isn't broken. It's imprisoned by rules you created. Rules you created in order to protect yourself from embarrassment. But today, my friend, I'm going to help you break out of your cage with 5 simple applications that will help you finally speak English with confidence. Are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. Here is application number 1. Stop rehearsing and start responding. Again, stop rehearsing and start responding. What is this? You see, speaking without mentally constructing the perfect sentence first is how you move outside of the cage. Again, stop rehearsing and start responding. So what does this actually look like? How can you understand this and why it works? There's a reason why it works, stopping the rehearsing. You see, rehearsing creates the exact delay that makes you sound unnatural. The fact of the matter is, you can speak English fluently. But when you stop to rehearse in your mind, the person listening to you feels that your English is a bit unnatural because of the pausing. Here's another reason why actually stopping the rehearsing will help you. You see, native speakers, we don't rehearse. We don't rehearse our responses prior to getting to a conversation. Instead, we respond and adjust in real time. Also, when you rehearse, you're performing a script. You're not having a conversation. You have a set script and you are like an actor in a play. But when you are trying to speak English fluently, you cannot rehearse prior to the conversation. Also, your brain, my friend, your brain already knows more English than you allow it to use. Rehearsing filters out your own fluency. You know so much. Let your brain put that information to use. And finally, the safety of rehearsing actually increases, listen closely, actually increases your anxiety, because now you have to remember your script and listen to the other person. This is why the first application is so powerful. These things are holding you back, so you need to stop rehearsing and start responding. But what does this actually look like? It sounds good, right? But what does this actually look like? Let me give you some examples. Again, stop rehearsing and start responding. Here's example number 1. Think about being in a team meeting. Now, here's what it would sound like. Your manager asks, "What do you think about this timeline?" Instead of spending 10 seconds constructing the perfect response in your head while everyone waits in this awkward silence, you simply start. "I think the timeline is tight. You see, you figure out the rest as you speak, just like a native English speaker would. Your response isn't perfect. There are some mistakes, but you sound like someone in a conversation, not someone reciting from memory. Stop rehearsing and just start responding. What about this example? Example number 2, the casual lunch. A coworker asks you a question. At lunch, the coworker asks you, "Did you do anything fun this weekend?" Now, the old you would start to panic. You're trying to think of a response. You're trying to rehearse. Mentally, you're trying to construct a grammatically flawless summary of your weekend. By the time you're ready, though, the moment feels awkward. However, the new you just starts speaking, not rehearsing. Yeah, actually, I went to this place. It was like a market, but it was outside. You see, you're talking now like a human, not a textbook. The conversation will just flow. Again, not rehearsing, just responding. Remember, we're breaking you out of this cage so that you can speak English fluently. Here's example number 3, the client call. Now, I want you to imagine this. A client asks an unexpected question about your product, something that you have not rehearsed. You don't have a rehearsed answer. Now, the old you would freeze or say, "Let me get back to you." However, the new you would start speaking. That's a good question. I think the way it works is, you see, you discover your answer while you are speaking. The client hears someone thinking with them, not someone stalling. This is why application number 1 is so powerful. Stop rehearsing and just start responding. Don't worry about mistakes. This leads us into application number 2. Application number 2 is powerful. Give yourself permission to be approximately right. I love this one. Again, give yourself permission to be approximately right, almost correct. Now, what is this? You see, you're accepting close enough vocabulary instead of waiting for the perfect word to come to mind. Many times as an English learner, the awkward pauses you're experiencing, the nervousness, I don't know what's about to happen. This feeling, it comes up because you're looking for the perfect word, but you need to give yourself permission to be approximately right. Now, why does this actually work? I want us to look at some reasons why this works. First, perfectionism disguises itself as high standards. It's actually fear wearing a mask. Again, you think it's, I have high standards, but it's actually you wearing this mask because you're so afraid to make a mistake. Secondly, waiting for the exact right word communicates nothing. An approximate word communicates something. Remember, English fluency is all about communication. Start communicating. Communicating is the point. Communication is your goal, not linguistic precision. It's not wrong to want to be correct when you're speaking, but if this holds you back and keeps you in a cage, you have to let go. You see, native speakers, number 4, native speakers use approximate words constantly. We do. We say, that thing, what's it called? You know what I mean. Listen, when I say we, as native speakers do this all the time, I am telling you the truth. It just happened yesterday. I was hanging out with some friends and my friend said, "Tiff, get that thingy. What's that thing again?" She couldn't think of the word, but it didn't stop the conversation. Why? Because we do the same thing. Approximate is better than precision if it eliminates this awkward pause. And finally, this is why it works. Approximately right still creates a connection. Perfect silence creates a disconnection. Listen closely. Approximately right still creates a connection, but when you're silent, when there's an awkward pause, all of a sudden the disconnect starts to widen. This is why it's so important. Give yourself permission to be approximately right. What does this look like? Here's the first example. The frustrating coworker. Now, this coworker in this situation, you have a coworker. So you're telling a friend about a frustrating experience at work. You're trying to paint this picture. Now, you want to say that your coworker was condescending, right? Putting you down or looking at you as if they are better than you or above you. You want to say the word condescending, but for some reason the word just won't come out. Now, the old you would freeze, searching your brain to find the word, and this awkward silence is just building tension. However, the new you now would say, she talked to me like I was stupid, like she was above me. You see, your friend will now completely understand. The exact word did not matter. The feeling landed. Your friend understood what you were trying to say. It was an approximate word that you used instead of the exact word condescending you were looking for. This is why it works. Example number 2. Think about being at a doctor's office. Now, you're at this doctor's office and you're describing your symptoms to the doctor. Now, you can't remember the term nauseous, right? One of my friends actually a week ago was feeling nauseous, but you can't remember the word nauseous. Now, the old you would point at your stomach and then go quiet because you can't think of the word. You can't, what's the word? This is what the old you would do. But the new you would say, my stomach feels wrong. Like I might, like throw up, but I don't throw up. You're describing the word nauseous. The doctor then nods, because the doctor understands completely and then is able to help you. Approximate language got you the care you needed. Again, give yourself permission to be approximately right. What about this situation? The job interview. I want you to think about being in a job interview and the interviewer asks about your strengths. Now, you want to say the word meticulous, right? It means very precise, right? Very exact, but it's stuck. You can't seem to find the word meticulous. It's not coming out for some reason. And the old you would pause for a long time and look uncertain. You're looking at the interviewer. Maybe you're kind of fiddling with your fingers. This is the old you, but the new you would say, I pay attention to small things, details. I don't like to miss anything. You see, the interviewer would then write something positive because you gave the approximate, right? You didn't find the word meticulous, but you described it. Your approximate version actually sounded more natural than the fancy word would have. This is why it's so important for you to give yourself permission to be approximately right. I hope you're understanding. This is powerful. This is how you finally start speaking English with confidence, and it leads to our third application. Here's application number 3. Speak before you're ready. Speak before you're ready. What is this? You see, it's important for you to start your sentences before you know how they will end. I know. It probably feels uncomfortable just hearing me say this. Wait a minute, teacher. You're telling me to start speaking before I'm ready? I am. Remember, there's this cage that you've been in, and we're breaking you out of the cage with these applications. And application number 3 is speak before you're ready. Why does this work? Reason number 1. You see, fluency, English fluency is not knowing everything before you start. It's trusting yourself to figure it out as you go. You don't know exactly what you're going to say, but you trust that as you speak, this will come out the way you want it to come out. Reason number 2, Speaking before you're ready forces your brain to find solutions in real time. Trust your brain. You're intelligent. You're amazing. Trust your brain. Reason number 3. This is exactly how fluency is built. Through trust, not through preparation. Listen, fluency is built through trust. Trusting yourself, trusting what you've put in, trusting that you can bring it out, not through preparation. Preparation is important, but fluency comes when you trust yourself, trust that you can bring out what you put in. Reason number 4, your English will rise to meet the moment if you stop holding it back. If you break out of this cage, stop holding it back, your English will rise to meet the challenge and you will surprise yourself. Reason number 5. You see, waiting until you're ready means waiting forever. Readiness is a feeling that comes from doing, not before doing. Listen, here's the order. Readiness is a feeling that comes from doing, not before doing. You have to get in the game. You have to try. You have to start speaking. Again, speak before you're ready, my friend. So what does this look like? I want to show you some examples. Here's example number 1, the networking event. So I want you to think about being at a networking event. Someone asks you about your job. Now, instead of waiting until you've mentally prepared this polished answer, you start. You just start speaking. So I work in, it's like we help companies with their, now you find the words as you go along. You stumble a little bit. Yes, you are going to stumble, but you're in the conversation. You're not silent. You're not sitting there quietly. You're not in this awkward moment. No, you're in the conversation. The other person then leans in because he or she is interested. They don't need perfection, they need presence. Are you in the conversation? Speak before you're ready. Example number 2, the group dinner. Now, you're out with your friends. Your friends are debating a topic you have opinions about. You have opinions on this topic and you're in this comfortable environment. Now, the old you, however, would wait until you've formed your complete thought. Okay, Brian and Samantha are having this discussion. I know the topic. Okay, let me get my answer together. That's the old you. By then, however, the conversation has moved on. But the new you jumps in, speaks before you're ready. I don't know, I feel like, and you figure it out as you're speaking. You figure out what you feel as you're speaking. You're part of the conversation now. Your opinion shaped the discussion. I know it sounds uncomfortable. I know it can make you feel nervous, but you have to speak before you're ready. The goal is for you to be confident, but you have to get in the game. You have to jump in. Example number 3, the presentation Q&A. So think about this situation. After your presentation, someone raises their hand. Someone asks you a question that you did not prepare for. Now, the old you would panic and say, that's a good question. Let me think. And then the silence would stretch on painfully, an awkward silence. However, the new you would just start. Yeah, so the way I see it, you see, you build your answer in real time. You speak before you're ready. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's confident. Confidence is so key to speaking English fluently. The audience now sees someone who can think on their feet. My friend, application number 3 is to simply speak before you're ready. Now, application number 4 is another important one. But I want to remind you that this lesson is being brought to you by the 365-day English Fluency System. This is a system I created to help you on your English journey to go from intermediate to advanced. You can follow the system by going to speakenglishwithttiffani.com/365 system. This system gives you a lesson each and every day of the year. You follow a pattern that will take you from nervous and awkward to finally speaking English with confidence about topics that native English speakers actually speak about. So again, go to speakenglishwithttiffani.com/365 system. The link is right in the description. So now let us move to application number 4. Application number 4 is stop translating your personality. I've seen it happen so much. Again, stop translating your personality. What is this? You see, letting go of the need to be the exact same person in English that you are in your native language. Now, there is going to come a time where your real personality will come out. And I'm not saying fake it, but again, stop translating your personality. So we have to understand why this actually works. And then we're going to dive deeper into this. So trying to translate your entire identity word for word is an impossible task. Let me break this down. I remember when I was learning Korean. Now, I am a naturally humorous person, right? I love speaking with people. I love communicating. I love fellowshipping. I love spending time with friends and family. Now, I am naturally humorous. I tell lots of jokes. I'm quite funny, right? My dad is humorous, so I get my humor from him. When I was learning Korean, though, I didn't have all of the information. I didn't have all of the colloquial terms. I didn't have all of the idioms, Korean idioms, in order to translate over to being my humorous self. Trying to translate your entire identity word for word is an impossible task. Now, I'm funny right now in Korean because I got to the point where I could speak it completely fluently. But again, when you're trying at the very beginning to translate word for word, you're just going to frustrate yourself. Stop translating your personality. Here's the second reason why this is so important. The pressure of being exactly you crushes your confidence before you even open your mouth. Remember, you're on a journey, you're learning. Be patient with yourself. Relax. When you have this pressure of, I gotta do exactly what I'm doing in my first language, you have this anxiety start to build up. Just be patient. It will come out in time, but just be patient. Your English self can be a different version, maybe simpler, maybe more direct, maybe with different humor. Here's an example. I have students and they've told me, for example, my students that speak Korean, right? They've told me, Tiff, when I speak English, I am more outgoing than when I speak Korean, my first language. I've had other students tell me, students that speak Portuguese from Brazil and from different countries throughout Africa, different countries throughout Asia, even excluding Korea. They'll say, Tiff, when I speak English, a different side of me is able to come out. Not being fake, they just are able to see a different side of themselves. So stop translating your personality. Just let this side come out of you. Another reason is it's not losing yourself. It's discovering, and I just said this, it's discovering a new dimension of who you can be. It's going to cause you to flourish even more. You're going to find another aspect of your personality you didn't know was there. And finally, when you release the demand for a perfect copy, your English finally has room to breathe. English fluency, as you're recognizing, is not just about memorizing words. It's about understanding every aspect of fluency, including stopping the translation of your personality. Just be natural. Now let's get an example. Here's the first example. The dinner party joke. You're out with your friends, and here's what happens. In your native language, you're known for clever, quick humor. I just said this about myself when I was studying Korean. In English, I am quick. I am very humorous. Now, maybe the same is true for you. However, in English, those jokes don't land. When you try to tell the same jokes from your own first language, they don't land in English. The timing is off. The words don't carry the same weight. Old you feels like a failure man, I'm normally so funny, but I don't know what's happening. However, new you tries a different kind of humor. You're still yourself, but now in English, you're more observational or more physical. You make a simple joke at dinner. They laugh. It's not the same humor, but it's your English humor, a new version of funny. You're constantly adapting. You're constantly evolving into this person as you're studying English. Stop translating your personality and just let it develop. What about example number 2? The deep conversation. Now, in your language, you're philosophical, you're poetic. This is who you are. However, in English, you can't seem to find those beautiful words. Remember, upper intermediate. You have a lot of vocabulary, but in your language, eloquent. So it can be frustrating because you don't have those beautiful words just yet in English. Now, the old you would stay quiet, feeling quite shallow because you don't have the same eloquence when you speak English as you do when you speak your native language. However, the new you speaks simply. I think life is strange. We try so hard and sometimes it doesn't matter, but we try anyway. Now, this was not poetic. It doesn't sound like a poem or philosophical debate in an article or anything of that nature. However, your friend looks at you and says, wow, that's exactly how I feel. You see, you used simple words, but there is now a deep connection. Stop translating your personality. What about this example? Example number 3, the work persona. Now at work, in your native language, you're warm, you're charming, the person everyone likes. However, in English, that warmth feels muted, right? In your own native language, people love you because you check on them. You go and speak to them. You ask them how they're doing. You have all the vocabulary needed to really check on someone. But that warmth feels muted when it comes to English. Now, the old you would try to force it, but it feels fake when you try to force it. Now, the new you just lets your English self be a bit more reserved. You're more calm. You're more observational. You're giving your brain a chance to accumulate the words you need and just take your time. Be relaxed. You see, colleagues now start describing you as thoughtful and easy to work with. It's a different kind of likable. It's still you, just a different flavor. Again, stop translating your personality. Allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to relax and settle into this new persona. You're still you, just you're seeing a different side of who you are. Application number 4, stop translating your personality. And this leads us to application number 5. Embrace the mess. Just embrace the mess. You see, accepting that growth happens through imperfection is important. Again, growth happens through imperfection, not around it. You cannot avoid the imperfection. You can't avoid the mistakes, so embrace them. Embrace the mess. Now, the question is, why does this work? Here's the first reason why it works. You see, mistakes aren't evidence that something is wrong. They're evidence that you're trying. They're evidence that you're reaching. They're evidence that you're growing. You're trying to use what you've learned. You made a mistake, no worries. Next time you can correct it and move forward. Here's the second reason why this works. Not a few, not some, every fluent speaker walked through a valley of errors to get where they are. Everyone, including me, your teacher. You have to make mistakes. Children don't use the proper grammar. Children use incorrect words. They are learning. We all make mistakes. As adults, when we're learning new words, we might make a mistake. We may use it incorrectly. This is a part of the process. Number 3, the mess isn't the obstacle to fluency. It is the path. The mess is the path. This is how you get to where you're trying to go. Number 4, you see, when you embrace the mess of avoiding it, instead of avoiding it, you stop spending energy on protection and start spending it on progress. I like this one. Listen again. When you embrace the mess instead of avoiding it, embrace the mistakes, what happens? You stop spending energy on protecting yourself. You're not in this cage anymore. Instead, you start spending it on progress. Listen, I have to come out of this cage. Let me just focus on my progress instead of protecting myself from mistakes. And finally, messy English that connects will always beat perfect English that stays silent. Did you catch that? Messy English that connects, allows us to connect, will always override, will always be better than perfect English that stays silent, that never comes out. Embrace the mess. Here's an example. Look at this example. The grammar slip. This is something that happens often. You're on a video call. Let's say you're talking to a client and you say, hey, we need to discuss about the project. Now that's grammatically incorrect. You catch it though. Oh, wait a minute. About the project? Now the old you would spiral internally. I made another mistake. I hate making mistakes. You'd spiral internally, lose your focus, and then you start to get quiet. However, the new you barely pauses. You keep going. The client doesn't care. They're focused on the project, not your grammar slip up, not your prepositions, not your mistakes. The meeting ends successfully. The mess was part of the path. Listen, you'll notice when you're watching my lessons, when you're listening to my lessons, there are moments when I'll slip up. I keep going purposely to show you it's a part of the process. It's just human nature. It's okay. The grammar slip. What about this example right here? The wrong word. Now you're telling a story and you say, he was very angry. No, wait, not angry. Jealous? No, he was envious. You're visibly searching for the word. You can't find the right word. Now the old you is absolutely mortified. You are, oh my goodness, I cannot believe the word didn't come out correctly. Mortified. However, the new you just laughs lightly. Sorry, girl, I am looking for the word. What is that word again? The listener just smiles and may even help you find the word. The mistake actually created a moment of connection. I need you to follow along. Changing your mindset is going to actually help you speak English more confidently. You see, the mess in this situation became warmth, an opportunity to connect. What about this example? Example number 3. The confusing explanation. It's an explanation that is not as clear. So you're explaining something technical to your colleague, but midway through, you realize you're not making sense. It's not coming together. And the old you panics, talks faster, but then ends up making it worse. But the new you stops. Okay, let me start again. That was confusing. Woo! You start again. You start simpler this time. Your colleague nods and follows along. The willingness to be messy, to restart, to admit confusion actually makes you a better communicator. This is something you have to realize. It doesn't make you a worse communicator to admit the mess. It actually makes you a better one. So my friend, I need you to embrace the mess. This is how you finally set your English free out of the cage and speak confidently. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you practice applying each of the 5 applications. I'll talk to you next time. You still there? You know what time it is. It's story time. Hey, hey, hey. I said it's story time. All right. So I want to tell you something that happened to me with my car. Now, I told this story once before, quite a while ago. So my car, I got the car I had always wanted. I still love my car. I've had it for over a year. I still love it. I have a Lexus IS 300. I love it. I love it. It's a 4-door. It's a car that's very safe, and it still has some get up. So it's like a sports car and a sedan had a baby. So when I need to hit the gas, that baby goes. So I love my car. Praising God that he answered my prayers. I really wanted this car. So I had the car for about 6 or 7 months. And I walked out one day and I looked at this part right above my left front tire. And there was a brown spot. Now, brown is rust. I have a black car and I saw the brown and I said, oh no. When it comes to a car, if you see a rust spot, you have to act quickly. If you don't, rust is very invasive. It will take over. I said, man, I just got this car. I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to take it in to see how this rust formed. So I took my car. I had gotten my car, had this not paint kind of applied to protect it. So I took it back to the shop where I had gotten that service done. They're very, very good guys. They're out in Annapolis, Maryland. So I took the car in and I said, hey, I see this rust spot. And the guy comes out, he's like, oof. He's like, ma'am, we don't work with rust. He said, but the shop right next door to us, they can work with rust. And I could see by the look on his face that it wasn't looking good. I was like, man, this is going to be expensive. So I go literally to the next door, right next to his building. And another gentleman walks out, an older gentleman, very nice. He said, hey, how can I help you? I said, well, here's the deal. My car, I have a newer car, but there's this rust spot. So he looks at it. And again, his brow starts furrowing. This is another guy. And I can see, I'm like, man, this is going to be expensive. He said, okay. He said, well, ma'am, here's the thing. The rust is located on this part right above your tire. But in order to fix it, he said the rust is probably all the way behind this covering. We're going to have to take this whole side off, take off the paint, fix the rust, and put it back on. And as he's talking, all I hear is ching, 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 just money. I'm like, okay. I said, how much will that be? He said, in all honesty, it'll probably run around $1,000. I said, $1,000? He said, yeah. No, the guy was very nice. I said, can you give me a little bit of time to think about it and then I'll call you tomorrow? He said, sure. So I said, I'll call you in 24 hours. So I get back in my car and I said, man, $1,000 for a rust spot. I said, but if you don't take care of it, it will spread. So I'm sitting in my car thinking, and I remember that the dealership I go to for my car, the Lexus dealership, they had told me that they had a specific auto body shop that they use for their clients. But the auto body shop was further away. Like I would have to drive about 20 more minutes. So almost an hour from my home. And I was debating, do I go there just to see what their thoughts are, to get a second opinion, or do I just go with this guy? I said, okay, well, I took the time off from work, so let me just go. I had already planned to not work that day in the morning. So I drove the extra 20, 25 minutes. I had to cross a bridge and I get to the body shop. And I wasn't expecting them to be able to do anything major. I was like, okay, at least maybe a little bit cheaper. So I get inside and there are 2 ladies at the desk and they say, hey ma'am, how can we help you? I said, well, I'm coming in because I have a Lexus and I'm seeing some rust. Immediately the room changed. They said, ooh, ma'am, we don't deal with rust. And I was like, man. They said, but let us get our body expert out and let's have him look at your car. Like he's an expert with like the body of a car, a Lexus. I said, okay. So the guy comes out, he says, hey ma'am, how can I help you? And the moment I say rust, he's like, ooh. He said, but let's check it out. So again, I'm thinking $1,000 already from the other person. They don't really work with rust, so I just kind of wasted gas. So I walk with the gentleman out to my car. And he says, ma'am, where's the rust spot? So I point to the rust spot. Again, I'm not hopeful. I'm just like, we'll just see what happens. He looks at it and he says, oh, now his voice changed, went a little higher. And I said, oh, what? He said, oh, this isn't a problem at all. I said, what did you just say? He said, listen, he said, this right here, he said, this is not going to actually take over the side of your car. He said, ma'am, stay right here. I'll be right back. So I'm hopeful right now. He walks inside and brings this little bottle out. I said, now, I can't remember what his name was. I had memorized his name, but let's say his name was James. I said, now, James, tell me, what's this little bottle you got in your hand? What's this? He said, oh, this is just some touch-up paint. I said, but now, James, wait a minute. This is rust. He said, no, ma'am, this right here is the rain got in your car. He said, yes, it is rust, but it's isolated to this one spot. Now, remember, James is an expert specifically with Lexus vehicles. So, James, I trust you. He said, listen, all I have to do is, and he put a dot of the touch-up paint over the rust. I said, now, James, in 3 months, it's not going to come back? He said, no, it's not. And if it does, bring the car to me and I'll take care of it. I said, okay. I said, James, my guy, tell me how much it's going to be. I knew it wasn't going to be $1,000, right? He said, oh, I'm not going to charge you. I said, wait a minute, James. What'd you say? He said, no, I'm not going to charge you. He said, better yet, I'm going to give you this bottle for free, just in case it happens somewhere else on your car. I said, James, I could give you a hug, boy. I was so happy because what I thought was going to cost me $1,000 ended up being $0. Now, if I hadn't decided to drive across the bridge, now I know God told me, Tiff, just go across the bridge. I know it's an extra 20, 25 minutes, but trust me, saved me $1,000. Didn't have to have my car taken apart. James was my guy with that little paint bottle that is still in my car right now. Moral of the story, always get a second opinion and look for yourself a James. I hope you enjoyed this story and I will talk to you in the next lesson.